So I have a new guest with me here at the NOAA conference here in Zurich. Could you say who you are and where you're from?
Hi, I'm Rudolf Hilti, or Rudi Hilti. I'm from Schaan, Liechtenstein.
Okay, and you're with something called the Systems Foundation?
System Change Foundation.
Systems Change Foundation, right. So tell us a little bit about what you're trying to achieve with this foundation, systems change. How can we do it better?
I think you have to understand, I'm born in a country with 38,000 inhabitants in Liechtenstein. And for me, I thought as a child I understand the world because it was so small for me, the whole system. And I think what we lack is to go beyond, to think bigger, to think different, because it's too far away, it's too complex, it's too, how should you? You just try to improve something instead of really change something. And this is exactly a problem what we have in the world, that if you talk about stability, you try to keep it. But you only can have stability through constant change. That's what we try to reach, but globally. It has nothing to do with Liechtenstein. But it's just a starting point for our foundation to be neutral. We think without the box instead of outside the box.
Yeah. So in a sense, it's inspired by the relatively small population of people in Liechtenstein, where whether you're a politician or a bus driver or a nurse or a doctor or a scientist or an economist, you're all kind of quite close together, right? So there's kind of an exchange of ideas happening all the time within a community so small by various different kinds of people. Is this?
But it's the same in the world. So we're one click away of everyone and everything. And it's the same. But there's too many agendas involved. It's always in and out group. And that's what we try to get rid of. But we say we try to build a platform for a community where we can think without an agenda, without borders, without higher interests, and bringing them together physically and virtually.
So you mentioned that you create what you call a house. It's really a place that people wouldn't maybe normally think of coming together to talk about these really big challenges. You might want to say what some of the big challenges are that people have been discussing. But you mentioned the Opera House in the center of Berlin. You mentioned somewhere in Africa on a mountaintop, one place that was a construction site where you brought policymakers and ordinary citizens. I don't quite know how you choose the groups that come together, but so you basically take people out of their comfort zones because they're with people maybe they're not normally with, discussing big topics, and you put them in places that they're not normally sitting in to actually also have that discussion. So you create a kind of new world for people to start engaging on these big challenges. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. So the house, we call it the Hus in Swiss German. It's a concept of the foundation. And what we try is to give a home for security at home, but it can be everywhere. It's just a concept. So it can be an opera house, it can be a school house, it can be a mountain house, or it can be a house under construction. It doesn't matter. What we try to do is just bring ideas together to go beyond. And nobody has the answers yet, but we have questions. And it's always a problem who asks what. And we try to do with our foundation that we say there's nothing behind, but there's just an idea or more a holistic thinking coming out of a country with 38,000 inhabitants. And this we try to bring to the world and connecting the dots and having completely different mindsets together. And all people who are really able to change the world, who are really willing to change the world. But it starts with with your power of imagination.
But when these people come together, is there like a, how does it begin? Is there an overarching theme? Is there something like, we're losing all our species, what do we do about it? How does it begin? What do they know how to start talking about things? What is the topics or theme?
First of all, it's a radical openness.
Okay.
Because what do we say? We are asking questions, but we know that nobody knows the answers yet. So it's this openness. But bring the right people for sure with the right topics and together. But more important is to just create a feeling of, or like Walt Disney said it, dream it, make it. This
dream
attitude,
it, make it.
this
Yes.
is what we try to bring to the table. And this as well, we try to reach different backgrounds of politics. We try to reach science. We try to reach the creative scene. We try to reach just people who are able to go beyond. And then bringing them together and helping them to imagine. And if you can, and then the next step is to visualize your imagination, like an architect is doing so. And then you can finance it.
So I think it's tricky for maybe the viewer here right now to because they don't really know what you talk about in these places, right? So do you talk about how do we live together as human beings on the planet, or do you talk about yeah, I think, is there any way just putting a little bit on your hand on what it is that,
for example, definitely. So we talk about future realities.
Okay.
And realities, we create these realities. And everything is crazy until you do it, and then it's a new normal. But when you begin, it's just crazy. And that's what we try to push. Craziness, but in a very positive way. We are all optimists. We know that we can do it, but we don't know how we have to solve the problems yet, but we are open for it. And then for example, carbon, CO2, it's a market. It's a new way of product. And this we try to push, that we create business models around it, that we create a framework for it. Policy, and it's already reality in these days. But I think 10, 20 years ago, it was just a concept of people. And we try to bring new concepts to the world even faster. We try to accelerate it.
Right.
And it's like, it's the same what I do as well, impact investor, but quite early stage, trying to support new realities, bringing them to scale, making them real.
In terms, I know you do investments as well. So just, I might ask you just, is there something you've invested in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years that you think is completely capable of changing a system, or is a system change in itself?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So it starts quite easy things with sustainable materials.
Sustainable materials.
Yeah. Then as well, carbon markets.
Yeah.
Really. We don't have time as well, sure. But there's so many things. I think we can really, if we go now 20 years
into the future, yeah,
I think we can redo almost everything. And that's why I'm into it. And it's more so, how do we bring this change to the world? How we can scale it? And it's not only technology. Technology is by far the easiest part. It's more the mindset change. It's the policy change. And as well for technology, look, the biggest technology change things came out of higher missions, space, military as well, or from science, definitely. And not only from business. Business is taking it when it's there, when it's already real, and then we're trying to get the concept out of it. But the good thing in this world is that we can collaborate quite early on. So we can bring money together, and then you can create these missions, bigger missions, sustainable missions.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have to be able to deliver as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When we were broadcasting from the climate conference in Glasgow, and we were looking at a new report from the International Monetary Fund, which was showing how much money the governments were spending on subsidizing fossil fuels. 11 million US dollars a minute, trillions of dollars every year, which seemed a little bit crazy to us because we're supposed to be trying to save the planet from climate change, and yet the governments at the same time are subsidizing the fossil fuel industry. And we started a counter, which we started in Glasgow, on how much money governments have spent on subsidizing fossil fuels since the beginning of the UN climate conference in Glasgow. It's now at 584 billion US dollars. Could that be put to better work, spent on something else, imagining a different reality?
Definitely, but for this we have to be able to think different. And that's why I mean, dream it, make it. You have to be able to imagine it. and then you can visualize it, and you can visualize, you can finance it. But I think so many things we do are, or people, we think we can keep stability just by creating more rules or keeping it over-engineer it. But what we need is more so this openness, radical openness. And because nature is showing us, there's always constant change brings stability. And this we have to learn. That's why we have to go away from this old world thinking. But it's really hard if you're inside the system. And if the system is so big, how should you go beyond? How should you be able to change it? It's just a number. But there's what we try to bring to the world, is that dream it and make it. And we start from just an idea, but everything starts from an idea. Everything starts small. Every lab, an iPhone started in a lab, not in a global market. But the App Store changed the whole world. And it's just, it starts small.
Good. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. I hope you have a good time here at NOAA. And I will dream tonight of what I'm going to dream and make through a different reality perspective. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.